Story. Burner phone. I trusted my wife with everything, until I found a phone that shouldn't have existed. There was a time when I thought I had it all figured out. Julia and I had been married for 6 years. We met in our mid-20s, introduced by a mutual friend who swore we were two typo nerds made for each other. At the time, I thought that was a terrible pitch, but she turned out to be right. We clicked fast. Both of us were obsessed with our careers, but grounded in routine. I was in software architecture, she worked in real estate. We drank black coffee, hated surprises, and fought over playlists like it was a competitive sport. She liked indie rock. I liked silence. Our apartment in Boston wasn't much, but we made it ours. Filled it with bookcases, scented candles, half-used yoga mats. I still remember one night during our second year of marriage. We stayed up until 2 a.m., building a bookshelf from IKEA, laughing at how poorly we followed instructions, drunk on wine and each other. We used to laugh all the time. We weren't flashy. We didn't take exotic vacations or post-curated couple photos. But we fit. We shared a quiet rhythm that made the world feel manageable. When Julia curled up next to me on the couch in her oversized sweater, I'd think, this is it. This is what forever looks like. We were trying to have a baby. It had been 7 months of tracking cycles, fertility appointments, and the strange clinical intimacy of scheduled sex. It wasn't romantic, but we both wanted it. Or at least I thought we did. And then things started changing. It was nothing dramatic at first, just little things. The kind you dismiss until they pile up into something undeniable. Julia started checking her phone more often. Not just casually, but with this twitchy awareness, like she was afraid someone might see what was on it. She kept it face down during dinner. She started wearing her smartwatch more, even around the house, and I noticed how she'd glance at it, lips pressed together, after every buzz. I asked her once, jokingly, "You running a side hustle I don't know about?" She laughed, a little too loud. "God, no, it's just work." She started coming home late. Not every night, just often enough for me to notice. Always with a reason. A client insisted on a last-minute showing, a traffic jam on I-93. A co-worker needed help prepping a proposal. Her tone was always brisk, her explanations logical. And yet, one evening she came in 2 hours after dinner. I'd reheated her food twice. She apologized, said a deal had fallen through and she had to smooth things over at a wine bar downtown. I hugged her, tried to show I understood, but she smelled different that night. Not her usual perfume. Something floral, too sweet. The next morning I asked offhandedly, "New perfume?" She didn't look at me. "What? I noticed your scent last night. It was different." Julia paused, fingers frozen on her phone screen. "Oh, yeah, I tried a sample someone gave me at the office. Didn't like it." I didn't press, but that was the first time I felt it. That gnawing sensation in the gut. The one that whispers, "Something's off." I ignored it. Another time, she said she was going to meet a client in Waltham. She was gone for almost 4 hours. When she came home, she looked flushed and distracted. I asked how it went, and she said, "Fine," then disappeared into the bedroom and closed the door. Later that night, I found her sitting on the edge of the bed, scrolling through her phone, brows furrowed. She didn't look up when I walked in. I asked if she was okay. "I'm tired," she said. "Can we not do this tonight?" "Do what?" I almost asked, but something in her voice made me back off. She was distant, not cruel, just absent. Her touch felt colder. Her eyes wandered. When we talked, she still said, "I love you," but it landed flat, like an echo of itself. I told myself she was stressed. The housing market had been volatile. We were both overworked, trying to save for IVF in case we needed it. People change under pressure. That's normal, right? But I started noticing the patterns. When she got texts, she'd tilt the screen away. Her phone never left her side, not even in the shower. Once, I woke up in the middle of the night and she wasn't in bed. I found her in the kitchen, typing something rapidly on her phone, flinching when I appeared. She gave me a tight smile. "Couldn't sleep, didn't want to wake you." I nodded, but my heart felt tight. I didn't want to believe anything bad. I didn't want to be the paranoid husband. I told myself love was about trust, and I did trust her, or at least I wanted to. But the truth is, you can only ignore your gut for so long before it starts screaming. I wish I had listened sooner, because what I found in her car would change everything. 3 weeks after that night in the kitchen, Julia had to drive to Providence for a client meeting. I was supposed to take the train into work, but my car battery had died the day before and I hadn't gotten around to jumping it. "You can take mine," she said, tossing me her keys without a second thought. "Just don't leave your junk in there. I have a showing tomorrow." She kissed my cheek, distracted, already halfway out the door. I stood there with her keys in hand, heart oddly unsettled. She didn't even hesitate. That should have comforted me. But it didn't. Later that morning, as I drove south on R95, I reached over to the passenger side to grab my phone charger. I always kept an extra in the glove compartment of my car, and I figured Julia might have one in hers too. I popped the glove box open. No charger. But I did find something else. Tucked beneath an envelope of car registration papers and an old protein bar wrapper was a black, beat-up smartphone, the kind you would buy prepaid at CVS with cash and no ID. It didn't even have a case. I stared at it for a full 5 seconds, unmoving. The car hummed around me, the road stretching out endlessly, and yet my world had frozen. What the hell is this? It was off. Just a black screen and a vague reflection of my own stunned face. I reached for it with slow, deliberate hands, like I was touching something radioactive. It felt warm, used, like it had a purpose I wasn't meant to uncover. My rational brain kicked in. Maybe it's from a listing she inherited, or a lost phone she meant to return. Maybe it's nothing. But I already knew. I didn't open it right away. I drove another 15 miles, fingers clenching the steering wheel so tightly they cramped. The phone sat in the center console like it was breathing. I couldn't stop glancing at it. Finally, in a rest stop parking lot just outside Warwick, I killed the engine. Sat there in the silence. My hands trembled as I pressed the power button. The screen flickered to life. No passcode. It opened directly to the messaging app. No name, just a string of text. The sender was listed simply as G. I tapped. The first thing I saw was a photo, Julia, in red lingerie I'd never seen before, standing in front of a mirror in a hotel room. Her expression was sultry, her hair tousled. The caption read, "Thought you'd like a preview, baby?" I felt something crack open in my chest. I scrolled. Gee, God, I can't stop thinking about that night. Julia, you make me feel like a woman again, not just a wife. Gee, I want to taste you again. Julia, then meet me at the usual spot. Same hotel, room 307. You know what to bring. My fingers went numb. I wanted to look away. I didn't. Further down, there was a voice message. I hesitated, then pressed play. Julia's voice, breathless. God, I still smell like you. I can't stop smiling. He didn't even notice last night. I nearly dropped the phone. I stared at the windshield, blinking into the middle distance. My breath came in short, irregular bursts. I wanted to throw up, or scream, or both. I scrolled more. Julia, he's a good man, but he doesn't see me anymore. You do. Julia, he's sweet but boring, so predictable. Julia, you're my real man. My ears rang. I sat motionless, the phone slack in my palm. Outside, people walked past my parked car, unaware that the man inside was watching his life disintegrate in real time. My vision blurred. My throat clenched. I dropped the phone into the passenger seat as if it had burned me. I sat there for 15 full minutes, just breathing, thinking, not thinking. Every moment of our marriage flashed through my mind. The wedding vows, the trip to the Berkshires, the night we agreed to start trying for a child. Was it all a lie? I picked up the phone again. I took photos of the messages. I didn't know why. Maybe to remind myself later that I wasn't imagining it. Maybe to show someone. Maybe to have proof in case she denied it. I looked at the last message. It was from the night before. Gee, can't wait to have you again. Don't wear panties. This time. Julia, already not wearing any, babe. I clenched my jaw so tightly it hurt. The part that destroyed me wasn't just the sex, it was the intimacy. the flirtation, the delight in deceiving me. My wife wasn't just cheating, she was enjoying it. I wanted to scream at the sky, but instead I sat there in a parking lot, holding a stranger's phone that belonged to the woman I married. I didn't sleep that night. After discovering the burner phone and reading through every sordid message, I drove back home in silence. No music, no podcasts, just the sound of my own shallow breathing and the rhythmic bump of tires against asphalt. My hands gripped the steering wheel the way a drowning man clutches a life preserver. I knew I couldn't unsee any of it. I couldn't rewind or pretend. But what I didn't know, what I couldn't figure out, was what to do next. Should I confront her, scream, demand an explanation, or should I just leave, walk out and disappear? But the truth was, I didn't want to vanish. I wanted her to look me in the eye and admit it. I wanted to hear the truth from her lips, even if it shattered me. That night, I sat in the kitchen long after the sun went down. I printed out a few of the texts from the burner phone, just enough to erase any possible denial. The rest I forwarded to my email. I wasn't thinking straight, but I knew I wanted a record. Then I placed the burner phone on the dining table, screen up, unlocked. I turned on every light in the apartment. I wanted nothing hidden, no shadows, no excuses. She came home at 8:13 p.m., humming as she unlocked the door. Her heels clicked on the hardwood floor. "Hey," she called out, setting her back down. "Sorry, client dinner ran long." She walked into the dining room and stopped, dead still. Her eyes landed on the phone, then on the papers beside it, then on me, sitting at the head of the table, hands folded, face blank. "Ayla G?" I asked. My voice was calm. Too calm. It surprised even me. Julia didn't answer. She didn't move. "Sit down," I said. "We're going to talk." She pulled out a chair, slowly, mechanically, like her body was on delay. "I found the phone," I continued, "in your glove box. Not a good hiding place, by the way." She swallowed. That's not..." I raised a hand. Just don't insult me." She looked away, blinking fast. "Who is he?" I pressed. "Who the hell is G?" She closed her eyes, exhaled. Finally, she whispered, "His name is Greg. He's someone from work." I nodded, but I was trembling inside. "How long?" I asked. She hesitated. "A few months." I laughed bitterly. "Try again. The earliest message is dated 8 months ago." She flinched. "Okay, 8, maybe more." Silence fell. Then she said it. "I didn't think you'd find out." Those words sliced deeper than anything else she could have said. Not, "I'm sorry," not, "it was a mistake." Just a cold, flat truth. "I didn't think you'd find out." My jaw clenched. "You were just going to keep fucking him behind my back until what? Until you got bored? Until you got pregnant?" She didn't answer. I stood up, voice rising. "Jesus, Julia, we were trying to have a baby. We were making plans. I was building a future with you. You were just playing house." Tears welled up in my eyes, uninvited. I wiped them away angrily. "You lied every day. Every fucking day." She looked at me, eyes glassy, and for a second I thought I saw regret. But then she spoke, and it vanished. I felt dead, okay? I felt invisible. Greg made me feel like I mattered again. He saw me. "Bullshit," I spat. "You don't fix emptiness by setting fire to your marriage." She looked down. "I know what I did. I know it was selfish. But you..." She stopped. "You were always in control, always safe. You never really needed me." I laughed bitterly. "That's how you justify this?" Her voice hardened. "I'm not excusing it, but I'm not going to pretend it was all perfect either." "Perfect?" I shouted. "Who the hell said anything was perfect? We were in it. We were working through things. That's what marriage is. You don't get to rewrite history just because you're horny and bored." I slammed the table with both hands. The phone jumped. The printouts fluttered. She jumped back. I saw fear in her eyes, and for a moment I hated that. I hated that she feared me. I had never laid a finger on her, never raised a hand, but rage blurred everything. Then the silence came. That long, choking silence where there's nothing left to say because the truth has already detonated. I took a deep breath. "You need to go." "What?" she whispered. "Tonight. Pack your things. Take your burner phone. Get out. Can we just talk?" "No." I shook my head firm. "There's nothing left to say. You burned it, you don't get to stay in the ashes. She opened her mouth, closed it, then stood up slowly. No tears, no begging, just quiet resignation. She packed in silence. I didn't help, I didn't watch. I sat in the same chair, staring at the wall like it might open and swallow me whole. 38 minutes later, she came to the door with 2 duffel bags and her laptop. She turned back, eyes shining. I didn't plan this to hurt you, but you did anyway, I said, voice hoarse. She nodded almost imperceptibly. Then she walked out, and I locked the door behind her. The next morning, I changed the locks. That evening, I deleted her number, blocked it too. Her burner phone never pinged again. Maybe she shut it off. Maybe she got a new one. I wouldn't know, because from that moment forward, Julia no longer existed in my world. Only the ruins of what she left behind. I once thought the worst pain would be losing her, but I was wrong. The worst pain was realizing she was never really mine to begin with. The nights after Julia left were the worst. I couldn't sleep, not really. I'd lie in bed, staring at the ceiling, listening to the ticking of the wall clock and the soft hum of the refrigerator in the kitchen. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw her face again, sometimes smiling like she used to, sometimes whispering, "You're boring, predictable." I stopped eating. Food tasted like cardboard. I didn't turn on the TV. I didn't check my work emails. I didn't respond to texts from coworkers asking where I was. For a week straight, I did nothing but sit in my living room and let time pass around me like a ghost. On the 5th day, my best friend Leo showed up at the door. I hadn't told him anything, but apparently Julia had texted him. Or maybe he just knew something was wrong. He took one look at me, walked past without a word, and came back 10 minutes later with grocery bags and a bottle of bourbon. "You look like shit," he said, tossing me a pack of instant ramen. "Also, you stink." I didn't argue. He ended up staying with me for almost 2 weeks. He took the couch, cooked spaghetti no one ate, and talked at me until I started responding again. Some nights, he put on bad movies just to fill the silence. Other nights, we drank until I forgot what day it was. I cried in front of him twice. Ugly, snot-filled sobs. He didn't say much, just sat beside me and let me fall apart. That saved me more than he'll ever know. Julia texted me 3 times. The first one came 3 days after she left. "I know I hurt you. I don't expect forgiveness, but I'd really like to talk." I didn't respond. A week later, another. "I'm sorry, I don't know how to fix any of this. Please, can we just talk?" Still nothing. The third came 2 weeks after that. No apology this time. "I never stopped loving you. I just forgot how to be with you." That one stung more than the others. I stared at it for 10 minutes before deleting it. I didn't block her. I wanted to. But some part of me needed to know if she'd keep reaching out. She didn't after that. What haunted me most weren't the text. It was the memories. One night, alone on the balcony, I remembered our 3rd anniversary. We'd gone to Cape Cod. The weather was awful, pouring rain all weekend, but we'd stayed in a little cabin near the water, drank wine, played board games, made pancakes together in our pajamas. At one point, we slow danced to a Frank Sinatra song in the middle of the living room, barefoot on cold wood floor. I remember looking at her and thinking, this is the woman I want to grow old with. I'd given her a small locket with a photo of us from college inside. She cried when she opened it. Now I couldn't stop wondering, had she been wearing it while she was with him? The thought made my stomach twist. In that same moment, a line from one of the burner phone texts flashed in my head. He doesn't even notice. He's so easy to lie to. It felt like I'd been punched again. Eventually, Leo convinced me to try therapy. "You're just treading water, man," he said. "You're surviving, but you're not healing." So I booked an appointment. Reluctantly. I wasn't sure talking to a stranger would do anything. But it did. Her name was Dr. Fletcher, late 40s. Calm voice. Wore glasses she kept adjusting every time I paused too long. At first, I told her just the facts. Marriage, affair, the burner phone, the confrontation, the fallout. She listened quietly, nodded, took notes. Then she asked the one question that cracked me. "Do you think her betrayal says something about your worth?" I didn't answer, not at first, but the silence filled the room until I couldn't avoid it. "I guess I do," I said, barely above a whisper. If I were better, more exciting, more something, maybe she wouldn't have looked elsewhere. She looked at me then, not with pity, but with something heavier. Firmness. That's the lie betrayal tells us, she said, that we weren't enough. But cheating isn't caused by someone else's shortcomings. It's a decision. It's selfishness. It's about them, not you. I sat there, trying to believe her. She continued, you can grieve the loss of the relationship. That's valid. You can grieve the version of her you loved. But don't grieve yourself. You are not what she did to you. That session broke something open in me. And for the first time in weeks, I let go of the question that had haunted me since the day I found that phone. What did I do wrong? The answer was nothing. Healing wasn't quick or linear. There were days I woke up feeling okay, even hopeful, and others when I collapsed on the shower floor because her shampoo scent still lingered on the shelves. But little by little, the pain softened. I started running again, cooked my own meals, went back to work, reorganized the apartment, took down our framed photos one by one. Some I packed away, some I threw out. I kept the locket, not because I still loved her, but because I wanted to remember that I once loved fiercely. And that wasn't something to be ashamed of. They say grief is love with nowhere to go, but therapy taught me that love can return to you too. In quiet ways, in new forms, even from yourself. It's been a year. 12 full months since the night I asked Julia to leave. Since the moment my life split clean down the center, like a pane of glass struck too hard. Sometimes it still catches me off guard, how much time has passed, how the pain, once sharp and endless, has dulled into something quieter, manageable, almost instructive. I no longer live in Boston. About 6 months after everything collapsed, I took a job offer in Portland, Oregon. It wasn't something I planned. The opportunity came out of nowhere. A friend of a friend needed someone with my background for a mid-sized design firm that valued the work-life balance and gave Fridays off in the summer. I said yes before I even saw the office. Packing up that apartment, the one Julia and I had shared, was harder than I thought it would be. Not because of the things, but because of the spaces in between. The kitchen counter, where we used to prep Sunday night meals. The corner of the hallway, where she once kissed me, unprompted, just because I looked sad that day. But I let it all go, not with bitterness, not with rage, just release. The new place was smaller, quieter. It overlooked a little park, where dogs ran every morning and kids kicked soccer balls at dusk. I bought a second-hand couch, hung up a map of the national parks, and for the first time in a long time, slept through the night. I started writing again. Not fiction, just reflections. Notes to myself, small truths I'd forgotten, while trying to hold together a marriage built on illusions. Eventually, I wrote this, what you're reading now, not to expose her, not to wallow, but because telling this story honestly has helped me remember who I am outside of what happened to me. It's not a revenge story, it's a survival story. About 3 months ago, I went on my first real date in over a year. Her name is Claire. We met at a bookstore, of all places, both reaching for the same copy of All the Light We Cannot See. She laughed, pulled her hand back, said, "You go ahead. I've already read it twice." We had coffee the next morning, then dinner, then a walk in the rain where I forgot, for just a moment, that I was someone who'd once been shattered. Claire isn't Julia. She never will be, and that's a good thing. She doesn't ask too many questions. She doesn't push. She just listens and smiles in this quiet, patient way that makes the air feel easier to breathe. I don't know where it's going, and for once, that doesn't scare me. Some nights I still think about Julia, not with longing, just observation. I wonder if she's okay. I wonder if she stayed with Greg or if that burned out like everything built on secrets eventually does. But I don't wonder why anymore. I stopped trying to solve the riddle of her choices. They're not mine to carry. What I carry instead is something new. Or maybe something old returned to me. Clarity, strength, peace. If trust is glass, then betrayal is a hammer. But even shattered pieces can reflect light again. And these days, I've learned to let the light in. One morning, walk at a time. One deep breath. one honest word, one real love. First for myself, then maybe for someone else.